that's its own little discussion.
Not a rookie, but
Correct.
Side discussion, Trey Lance, go.
Yeah. So Trey Lance, we know the story, right? Traded a ton to move up to number 3 overall, draft Trey Lance, even though they had Jimmy Garoppolo in the building playing well when he was playing. And then Trey Lance has been hurt. He's not played. And now Brock Purdy shows up for 7 games or whatever it was, looks great, essentially wins that job. And you're saying, right, Trey Lance in preseason, the only thing he can do, because he's going to get playing time because Brock Purdy's not 100% back yet. So all Lance can do, if he goes out there and absolutely lights it up in preseason, maybe he can ask a question of Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers. Instead, he goes out there and kind of looks like crap.
Yeah.
And you're like, all right, it was a long shot anyway. This is Brock Purdy's job to lose. But you definitely didn't help. But we sort of forget just how young he is in terms of overall quarterback experience. Like, the guy has barely played the game at any level at quarterback. And now we're expecting him to sort of make giant leaps in performance. There's just no opportunity to do that. There's not going to be reps in practice generally. He's had more, obviously, when guys have been injured. And I was sort of thinking, well, just give him all the preseason, all of it. Like, Sam Darnold doesn't need to play. Brock Purdy doesn't need to play. Like, put Trey Lance out there, give him the whole preseason, every single drop back. But then you're watching the game and you're like, actually, don't do that, because the offensive line is so bad when you get to the second and third string, and the receivers aren't necessarily doing him any favors. So actually, most of those snaps are harming him rather than helping him. Like, it's not useful experience to be out there with the third string offensive line just getting your ass kicked every single play. So guys like him are trapped in this world where how are they supposed to improve?
Yeah. So here's my assessment on the Trey Lance. Yeah, you kind of want to give him all the reps like you're saying, but is that a disastrous situation to even put him in? I would lean toward the reps. My assessment of the Trey Lance experience so far, because he's got such limited, 132 and like regular season dropbacks.
Yeah,
that's it.
And he had
319 above JUCO, so 319 at the FCS level plus 132 at the NFL level. We're talking.
And he only had 100.
That's less than a season for like whichever quarterback's going to play college football this year.
Right. He only had 100 and something, I think, in high school. Like, the dude has literally barely played quarterback ever.
And so what we've seen so far in that limited sample is a guy whose play style is nothing like anything Kyle Shanahan has had in San Francisco.
Right.
And I'm not just talking about the rushing ability. I'm talking about just the distribution of big-time throws and turnover-worthy plays. And while we talk about Shanahan as this magician who's going to take any quarterback, whether it's Nick Mullins, C.J. Beathard, Jimmy Garoppolo, Brock Purdy, doesn't matter, he's going to create these open throws for those quarterbacks. And he's definitely created a lot of production for those quarterbacks. But when they drafted Trey Lance, the question was, okay, now does this open up the run game? Does this now create Kyle Shanahan's awesome run game and add this other dimension that nobody can defend?
Right.
In lieu of some of those easier passes, because we're not seeing the easy underneath stuff like yesterday. We're not seeing that as much. We're not seeing Trey Lance hit those on time and accurately like others have. But what we are seeing Trey Lance do is have the ability to flip the field, and we also haven't seen them tap into his running ability like they could. Because if Trey Lance ever becomes the Niners starter, if he's not running 8 to 12 times a game, I don't think you're maximizing his ability and putting the defense in a bind. If you're just trying to make him play like the predecessors in San Francisco. So yesterday was more of the same. Some really nice passes, mostly not hitting the stuff in structure, getting away with one of the most egregious throws into the end zone that became a touchdown. And of course, where years ago we would have to defend ourselves and be like, oh, watch this touchdown, it's a turnover-worthy play. And we did that. We tweeted that out, and most people were like, yeah, this is terrible. And he gets a touchdown out of it. So in other words, to sum it up, you're just getting a much more volatile experience from Trey Lance than you are the previous Niners quarterbacks. But I think you can eventually offset that once you tap into him in the run game, which you're not going to do in the preseason. So it's like you still got to see some of this in the regular season if he's going to be your guy as the starter.
The bad throws yesterday will get all the attention. The rare turnover-worthy touchdown where he puts the ball right in the hands of a defender, only for the defender not to catch it and actually fumble it towards a receiver who just catches it, gets the score. That, and then he threw the ball later in the game, like right to a linebacker again. Those will get all the attention. But actually, the first drive to me was the most worrying thing from a Lance within the Shanahan system point of view. They went 3 and out, right? And on all 3 dropbacks, Lance pulled the ball down rather than fire it at his first target, right? Which is not inherently bad. Like if the first guy's covered or if they're taking it away, fine, you're going to have to do that. But all 3 times he pulled the ball down, at least 2 of them the receiver was open or NFL open, like not really, but enough to take the shot. And on 2 of the 3 occasions, the best he could do once he pulled it down was to take a sack. Like he couldn't even find anything else like to do it. But that's what Shanahan wants the most, right? Is just be decisive and take what I'm dialing up for you. I am creating these plays that will definitely get a guy open, or at least open enough to take a shot. I need you to be decisive and hit him with the ball. This is why Shanahan has always lived with a guy like Garoppolo, who every now and again will throw the ball straight to a linebacker, because it's like, look, I want you to do that. If there's a guy there, that's on me. That's a breakdown in the play. But I'm going to dial up these guys that are open. I need you to drop back, be decisive, hit him with the ball, and let's cook. Lance was like indecisive. He was dithering. He pulled back and was like, oh, I don't know, is it? And then sack. It's like that cannot fly. That's the one thing you cannot do in this offense is be indecisive, dithering, and just go nowhere.
That's the argument for playing him, though. Offensive line depth aside, having him see it, game reps, and just getting quicker. It is, look, Jimmy Garoppolo's first preseason with the Patriots, he had that. As a rookie, I remember way back, 2014, he was a rookie, watching preseason games being like, man, Garoppolo, get rid of the ball. Like, why can't you? Like, he had the lightning quick release in college, and he was processing very slowly in the preseason as a rookie. And then now when you look at Garoppolo, it's like, no, that's part of his game is getting rid of the ball quickly and seeing the field, except for the, couple times a game where things just don't go well. So that stuff can improve. I thought Carson Wentz improved that from college to the NFL, for whatever it's worth. So I think maybe the reps are the way to go. And your initial take, hey, just give Trey Lance to the rest of the preseason for the most part, might be the smartest thing.
Yeah, but I also think that like at this point in his career, that's hugely concerning that he hasn't got that. Like, you would think he's had enough time there and with Shanahan that the message of I would rather you, like the play where he threw the ball straight to a linebacker, I think Shanahan would prefer he makes those plays even more regularly than the first 3 and out.
You mean the touchdown pass? He'd prefer he throws the touchdown
No, the second one. The one where he drops back, doesn't see the front side linebacker, and just fires the ball right to him. Like, Shanahan would prefer that than that 3 and out sequence at the start of the game where he couldn't commit to a throw and instead goes nowhere and takes sacks. Shanahan would like just show me you have the guts to drop back, fire where I'm intending you to throw the ball. And if a linebacker happens to be standing in the way, fine, we'll deal with that later. We'll cover that in chapter 2. But
it'll crush his PFF grade, but just right. It's better for your development.
But exactly. But for the moment, let's just trust that number 1 is going to be open, drop back and hit him.